Good morning, Happiness Crew. My name's Jason Dick from Perth. I am a strength coach and I have a gym called Earn the Right where we focus mainly on helping people remove pain and build confidence back into their body, ultimately giving them, allowing them to live a happier life. And today I'm going to go through with you some of the effects of sitting, so the negative effects of sitting, and some strategies that you can implement to, one, reverse them, the effects, but also just to be mindful of what's happening on the inside of your body and how you can, if we're spending 8 hours sitting behind a desk all day, then how we can actually reverse that process, and so that down the track, 10, 20, 30 years, you're not suffering the ultimate consequence, which is, well, from my perspective, it's not being able to move. That's a place that I've certainly come from, and that's certainly what we help people with every day at the gym and the right. So, reversing the effects of sitting. My apologies about my setup here. I've got my TV, I'm in my living room. It's a reality that we're all facing these days, so bear with me. I've got my phone set up. I can't actually see myself, and I've got my laptop here. So give me a thumbs up if you're watching, and you can, number one, see the TV. Number two, hear me okay, see me okay. I will be checking my phone periodically. I'm going to be asking for some of your feedback, so I'll be checking that. But yeah, my apologies. Doing what I can this morning with what I've got, so bear with me. I'll be doing a little bit of movement as well, so in about 10 minutes I'll move the camera, so if you're at home or if you're at work, you can do this with me, or you can just check back in later, and when I show you a few exercises, you can always do it there by yourself, alright? All good, all good. Cool, and I can't actually see my time. I don't have a clock anywhere with me. Rookie mistake, my apologies. Right on, so what we're going through, when is sitting bad for you? Okay, we're going to dive into what's happening on the inside of your body. Okay, it's not just posture. Well, let's talk about posture. What is posture? Posture is whatever position you're sitting in or standing in or laying down in right at this moment. Posture is not something that we're necessarily stuck in, but it's your ability to adopt a position at any given time, and your ability or inability to adopt a posture will determine exactly what's going on for you, whether it be from a performance perspective or from a health perspective. So if your goal is just to live happily and maintain your health for 50 years, then that's certainly an outcome or a goal that we're looking for. But it's also, if you have a performance goal and your posture needs to be stronger, then like if you're playing sport, and then we talk about what postures you need to be really strong at. So for example, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you're going to be rolling around the ground. That's going to be a very, very different posture to if you're doing Olympic weightlifting, for example, right? So what's happening on the inside? What's happening on the inside with all your organs, and not just what's happening musculoskeletally, okay, for your body in the sitting posture. We're always talking about spine. Yes, that's a massive factor, but there is other things that are going on that are contributing to the mess at the end of the day, that we're to the stress, to the ill health, to the diseases, everything that we're experiencing these days as a society. There's a lot of things that are going on just from this sitting posture. We're going to talk about 4 exercises. I did mention 3 exercises at the start when I first talked to Andrew and the Happiness Crew. I'm going to give you a bonus one. I'm going to give you 4 exercises and strategies for minimizing stress in the future. So normally I do this in like 3 hours. I'm going to go through this quite briefly. Keep it really high level, simple, so that we're not diving too much into any of the topics, but I'm just going to give you a brief overview of exactly what goes on in my head, especially in our gym, when we're talking about helping people to remove pain and live just a happier life, a stronger life, basically. So guys, if everything's going well so far, give me a thumbs up so I can actually tell. Julian's watching, beautiful. Hi Julian. Hope you can see everything. Okay, so first of all, I want your feedback for whoever is watching. I want to get some feedback from you. what do you think is the worst part about sitting? So, is it a forward head posture and a rounded back? That's A. Is it B, your organs being squashed between your pelvis and your rib cage? So here. Is it your eyes stuck on the one object without change? And this is for a prolonged period of time, guys, right? So you're talking about 3 to 5 hours, barely moving out of the one spot. Is it the shallow breathing? So E is the fight, flight, or freeze response and the stress that comes from it. So protecting yourself from threats, for example. So I'm going to dive into each of these just briefly again, just spend 1 or 2 minutes explaining them, what I mean. But right now, I just want you to let me know which one of these do you think is the worst part about sitting. I'll just give you like 20 seconds just to type in A, B, C, D, or E. Sorry, I'm just ducking behind my phone so I can actually see the comments. Thanks, Mark. All of them. Love it. Shelley's on E. Nice. Just waiting for a few more to come through. Shelley's had a second thought. Right on. So probably as most of you know, there isn't one definitive answer here. They're all part of the whole equation, and I'm just going to dive into those really quickly about why they all add up to a stressed system. Okay, the primary function of our human systems and our body, our brain, that's everything, is survival. That's what we're built for, is surviving. So everything that we do or do not do is either adding or taking away from that ability for us to survive. We've done it for hundreds of thousands and millions of years, depending upon how far you want to go back. But when we create an environment that we do these days where we're comfortable, our body is adapting to that comfort, and we're somewhat allowing that to happen as well. Our body is very, very good at adapting. So when we adopt a posture, like when we are sitting down for a prolonged period of time, our body senses this as let's say, a threat to our normal state. Now, let me rewind a little bit here and say, okay, what is your purpose in life? Now that might sound a little bit deep for what we're talking about here, but what is your purpose? What is your driving motivator for you to survive in life? For most of us, we have to go to work, we have to earn money to buy food, to buy a house, to buy things that we need in order to survive. Food, water, shelter. We need to find a mate as well. We need to look pretty. So this is why we invest the time and money and effort into all of these things. For survival, your system is always looking for efficiency. So how can I take in calories to then save them for when I need them the most? Or how can I get a job done the most efficient way possible? That would usually look like the laziest way. I'm not going to dive into any now, but I've certainly been a victim of it in the past. It's just being really lazy with my movement, and so that's definitely an element of surviving is your adaptation to efficient purposes, right? If our bodies weren't efficient, every single day would be very, very difficult. We probably wouldn't want to move off the couch. But because we have created this environment, we're able to adapt, we're able to be efficient, we're able to survive and keep moving forward. Depending upon what your purpose is, okay? So if your purpose is sitting behind a desk to earn your money, to do your job well, sitting behind a computer, sitting whatever with a forward head posture, for every inch that your head moves forward is basically adding 4.5 kilos of stress to your cervical spine, all the tissues that are going down the back of your neck, the musculature, the tendons, the ligaments, the fascia, everything. So very easy way to just look at that there. For every increase in degree, there's an increase in the stress, right? So this is number one way that we can look at, okay, what's actually happening to our head as it's forward and falling off. Added with that is the rounded thoracic spine posture that you typically see from people that have been sitting down for a long period of time, like a long part of their life, almost a third of their life. If you know, kids these days are starting to sit a lot earlier and behind computer screens a lot earlier. So I'm really scared that these kids are going to be down here by the time they're 20, 30, and they're not actually going to be able to open up and reach up and look at the sky. It's a really scary reality right now. So that's head, spine, and we're going to talk about some exercises right now that you can do to somewhat reverse these postures on the spine and the stress that's actually happening through the spine. Okay, I'm going to move this. I'm going to move you just over there. You can check out my lounge room a little bit. Beautiful. Good morning, Tracy. Okay, so 4 exercises that we're going to go through. We're going to do a half kneeling side step. I've got my 2-year-old daughter's safety table here. Okay, these are exercises that you can do at home with whatever you got. You don't need a lot. I've got a cushion for my couch. I've got this to rest on. This is also what my tripod was resting on. From here, half kneeling position, so 90-90 with the legs. You're just going to step to the side and then slide to the side. Making sure that your knee tracks in line with your toes. Step back and then step to the side. So what we're doing here is we're opening up your pelvis, we're opening up your hips. When we get stuck in this 90-90 position of sitting, your hamstrings get a little bit tight, your hip flexors get a little bit tight. It's a really common thing, but it can be quite different for a lot of people. But what we want to do here is just articulate the ball and socket joint in your hip so that we actually allow it to move through somewhat of its full range of motion, or more of its full range of motion, in a loaded position. So we're teaching it how we want to move while we're actually on our feet. But we're also paying attention to what's happening through your adductors or your groin muscles, what's happening through the back of your hips as well. Are you tight? Are you blocked? Are you just super tight, not letting you move anywhere? What's happening through your ankle? Is your ankle blocking you at the front there? Is your hip blocking you here? There's so much going on in this one simple movement that if you do this 10, 15, 20 reps each side, just periodically throughout the day, you're going to have a much smoother articulation of your ball and socket joints, so your femur going into your acetabulum. And I certainly know after I've done this, I do move a lot freer on both sides. So that's a simple exercise that you can do. All you need is something soft to put your knee on. Okay? And yeah, no equipment there. So, next one's a thoracic spine drop. So again, you need a couch or something to rest on. Put your knees on the ground, so again, the cushion. You could either have a stick here behind your head, or you can just have your hands. That also works depending upon your thoracic range already, right? So just be gentle with this to start with, and then you can just ease into it as much as you like. I'm going to have my elbows on the couch. I'm going to have my head resting on whatever you're resting on, and then I'm going to drop my thoracic spine down to the ground, and then I'm just going to focus on breathing. Okay, in through your nose, out through your mouth, just like this. Hands together behind your back and just dropping down. Slowly coming up out of that, because it's quite an intense position once you're actually relaxing and have gotten into a position where you don't normally spend. Okay, so about 2 minutes there is a really good thing to do just for your thoracic spine. Make sure you use your breathing, right? So really use your breathing to open you up and then relax, let everything switch off. Cool, so that's the thoracic spine drop. Then we're going to go into a seated crab hold. So this is actually to work on when you're sitting behind a desk, usually our upper shoulder muscles, upper trunk muscles are on, rounded forward, working all the time. So we want to basically work or stay strong in the opposite muscles to here. So that's pulling the shoulder back and down, okay, so that we're strengthening through the lower, or the upper lower back, under your scapulars. For this one, we're going to go sitting on the ground, fingers turned straight out to the sides. Okay, not behind you, not in front of you, just straight out to the sides is easy. You can do different ways, but just to keep it simple to start with. Okay, feet, you can either have your legs straight or you can have your knees bent, that's fine. Okay, from here we're just thinking about wanting the elbows open. As a result of the elbows wanting open, the shoulders will pull back. As the shoulders pull back, I want you to sit tall through your spine, and then pushing, if you want to, if you're okay there, you can then add a push down into the ground, okay, while your elbows are still locked out, while your shoulders are still back, and then you breathe. Constantly focus on pulling the shoulders further back and maintaining that tension, pushing down to the ground. Okay, so I'm really working the muscles straight between my scapulars in this extended position, extended posture, with good posture, as in with good, nice erect spine. I'm trying to sit up as tall as I can, constantly challenging the muscles of my spine. If you've been sitting, if you're quite stuck here, quite tight here, then this will be a challenging exercise for you, really challenging. If you've ever had shoulder issues or elbow issues, tennis elbow, golf elbow, that would certainly be a thing that you feel. So just be gentle with it to start with. Your biceps will probably be quite tight because of this T-Rex position that we usually sit in. So it really helps to stretch out your biceps, get your posterior muscles nice and strong. And yeah, it's one of my go-to favorite exercises for teaching everybody just how to open up through the chest and be strong at the back, okay? So the last one is the bonus one, neck curls. We're going to do some neck gains. I just want to make sure if I lay down, you're going to be able to see me okay. How are we doing? Love the frangipane. Thanks, Mark. Okay, I'm going to lay there. Great. Hang my head off. Right on. Okay. 2 minute pillows. So, for this really great one, go to the couch, lay down on your back, be gentle to start with again, hang your head off the edge of the couch, okay, let the front of your neck stretch out. So when we have this forward head posture, it's poked forward, these muscles are short and just short, and some of them are on, some of them are off, but they're short and strong, okay? What we want to do is help to create some length through them, and then some movement. Okay, so you can hang your head as a stretch, a passive stretch, right? But I always prefer to add a movement in it to teach the body and the brain how you want things working together. So from here, you can pull your chin to your throat, and then pull your head up, and then lowering back down, pull your chin to your throat, and pull your head up. Okay, that's one thing you can do. So that's just forwards and backwards. If you want, add some rotation, going left to right. This way you're holding your spine in a neutral position. It's really good to help with that cervical curvature and to strengthen your whole neck. Your head weighs about 4, 5, 7 kilos, depending upon how big your brain is. So there's plenty of load. You do that for about 30 seconds to a minute, and you'll certainly feel like when you stand up, you'll feel that your head is more centrally on top of your spine. You feel more balanced, okay? More balanced equals less threat. That's always a good thing for a happy day. So, did that make sense, Mark, Shelley, Julian? All good there? Cool. So, half kneeling side step was the first one, thoracic spine drop, seated crab hold, and neck curls. Okay, so what's happening? We're going to dive into the other parts of the question that I asked you. So, what's actually happening on the inside with our organs? So, when you're in this hunched over position, it's kind of coincides with your breathing mechanics as well. So, I'll just merge them into the one. When you're sitting in this tucked up position, when we're standing, our organs have space to move, right? And movement is the key. There's space to move, and they should be moving as they're working through to digest food through our whole stomach, our digestive system. We need that movement. If we are then closing that space, they now have limited ability to move, all right? And if you've ever had any indigestion or other, sorry, not indigestion, but if you've ever had intestinal issues, stomach issues with your digestion and whatnot, then you somewhat know what I'm talking about when you don't get things moving, right? I'm not going to dive into that because that's not my area area expertise, but it's all connected, right? So if you're sitting here, organs aren't moving, right? That means that they're not being as efficient at digesting your food, okay? I'll let you take from that what you can. With that, we talk about breathing as well, okay? So, happy organs, happy lungs. We'll jump back to eyes in a second. So with your breath, you breathe 20 to 30,000 times a day, right, depending upon how much exercise you're doing or your activity. So if you're sitting in this posture, good breathing uses your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is a muscle that sits up inside your rib cage, the bottom of your rib cage, and when you breathe in, it pushes down. So you should actually be able to see when you breathe in, your belly has the ability to press out, to come out. And that's just your organs pushing out into your abdominal wall there. So breathing into your diaphragm, belly breathing, whatever you'd like to call it, you should have the ability to do that. When you sit down, and you can try this now, if you're sitting down, just try breathing down to your stomach and see what happens. Compared to when you stand up, breathing into your stomach, breathing into your diaphragm. It's a lot easier to do when you're standing up. So, back to the whole survival and adaptation and efficiency. If something's harder, then the brain's just not going to do it. It takes more energy to do. If we had to think about doing all these conscious acts all the time, then we wouldn't get our work done. We would be too concerned with breathing and eating and drinking water, surviving. So, when you are sitting down, you're compressing that space, restricting your ability to breathe well through your diaphragm. Right? Now, when you breathe through your diaphragm, if you've ever done meditation or yoga or anything like that, breathing through your diaphragm upregulates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is what we need for when we're going to sleep. It's what we need to bring us down in the evenings. If you're breathing up through the chest, as in when you are sitting here and your diaphragm is inhibited, then you're forced to breathe up through your chest, through your upper shoulder muscles. Especially if you've just been for like a walk, or you've had a coffee, or you've just been in an argument, or you're stressed, or whatever it is, you are going to be breathing through your neck, basically, using all this musculature to lift your rib cage every single breath you take. That's going to result in headaches, is a common one. So, where we want to breathe, breathing mechanics, hang on, let me get back to that. Cool. Breathing, good, okay. So, breathing into your diaphragm is an essential part of the whole survival adaptation thing. If you're doing 30,000 reps a day with poor or restricted breathing, then you're adding to that whole flight, fight, or freeze response, which is upregulating your sympathetic nervous system, your adrenaline, your cortisol, everything is staying at the peak, right? You want to be bringing that down. You can't survive there all day, every day for a prolonged period of time. That's where heart attacks happen. Okay, cool. Happy eyes. Let's talk about eyes. Eyes. So eyes have muscles in them and around them. If you're staring at one thing all day, every day, then your eyes do not adapt. It's like if you have your arm in a sling after you break your arm, then 4 to 6 weeks in a sling, you take your arm out and you try to straighten your arm, and your bicep is actually really stiff, your elbow is stiff, so you actually have to do some work to stretch out your bicep, right? That's because it's adapted to that position, okay? It's become really efficient at staying in that position by creating density through the tissue. Same thing is what happens in your eyes. If your eyes you tell them every single day that this is the length that they have to be at, they're going to adapt to that. They're going to get really good and become really efficient at just keeping your eyes there. And that's where then you're going to lose the ability to see long and see short. You lose that ability for your eyes to change, to see your peripheral vision, right? The eyes around the muscles around your eyes, you want to be training them. There's a lot of different things you can do to train them. Simple thing is to catch a ball, okay? Throwing a ball up and down, watching the ball, okay? It's a really great way to just disrupt this whole sitting in front of a computer or a screen for an extended period of time. Happy breathing, talked about that. Hope I'm going well for time. Again, I don't have time, but I'll probably be about 5-10 minutes. So, this is a really big one that it's not a thing, but it is a thing. And I'll explain why. So, what does sitting look like? Sitting looks like the developing fetus. It looks like when we suddenly have to protect ourselves from physical threat. Okay? When we feel scared, we tuck up. When we feel cold, we cuddle up. When we feel depressed, we hide away. When we have internal organ pain or injuries, if you've ever had any gut issues, you curl up, okay? So that's what happens when we're in these situations. Now, apart from the first one, the rest are threatening situations, right? And sitting puts us back into that same posture, that same situation, if you will, which is somewhat of a negative feedback loop, right? If you go into this posture for long enough, you're telling the brain that, oh, we must be somewhere here. Something must be happening or about to happen. That's kind of like a psychosocial flight, fight, or freeze response that we're basically putting our system into, okay, when we sit for a long period of time. So it is something to consider. The basic answer at the end of the day is to move more, which is what I've shown you today, some things that you can do to break up your day, break up your prolonged sitting. So the easiest answer is to move more, right? Move more, breathe better. Breathe better and move more. Move well. Moving makes the muscles work, which increases their ability to transport all your essential nutrients and minerals, your oxygen obviously. So the more you move, the more you have to breathe. The more you move, the better the oxygen transfers through to your muscles, through to your organs, through to your tendons, your ligaments, everything, right? Moving increases demand for oxygen, yep, cool. Moving helps your organs to digest food. So, as I said before, your organs require movement. That you moving helps to push things around. You need to be moving in order to keep things happy, okay? Moving well gives the ability to continue to move well as we age. If you don't use it, you lose it. The better you move now, the more you move now means that you will be able to move better and move more as you age as well. If that's a thing that you are considering for yourself right now, I certainly checked in with that when I was about 26, lost use of my legs. I couldn't walk, and I was like, is this what I want the rest of my life to be like? And the answer was no. So I had to really look into what I was doing to my system, to my body, and all the stress that I was adding to it. So, move more, move well, okay? Breathe better. And if you want any information on any of this stuff that I've talked about, to dive into a little bit deeper, or references that I've got, then please ask, please reach out, comment below, I'll post them below if Julian's happy with that. Yeah, or reach out. We can certainly dive into these as much as we want to. So guys, from today, I hope that you have got some insights into what the negative effects of prolonged sitting are on your system. At least some surface level stuff that if you have resonated with anything that I've said, that you can go and look into a little bit further, dive into that a little bit further. Please reach out if you need to. I hope the exercise, you give those exercises a shot, and I hope they serve you well. You can do them as much as you like. They're not going to make you worse by doing them more, which is a thing these days. You can do too much of a bad exercise, okay? So I thank you very much for giving me your time, your attention today. Thanks very much to Julian and all the crew in this Happiness Aid Live. I think it's a fantastic initiative, and happy to be a part of it as well. So I hope that you guys stay strong, keep moving. At the end of the day, that's what equals happiness for me anyway. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your Monday.